the momentum and the impression that you give people on your email list is awesome. You
Sure.
know, every email celebrates the success of somebody in the program.
Okay.
And, you know, that might be interesting on day one, it might be exciting on day two, but by day 45, you're like, oh my God, this is just, it's so overwhelming that people are getting incredible, you know, results from this training program
Sure, man.
that, you know, it's just such a really, really good strategy. And I don't think that's like enough marketers kind of do that. I think that guys don't put enough time, energy, and attention into getting
Yep.
testimonials or results of any description. And then when they get them, they don't leverage them as
Yep.
powerfully as you do.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. I mean, there's guys I know in the online space that have really big businesses, and I'll opt in for the webinar just to see what's going on, and I'll get maybe 2 or 3 emails, and then I never get another email, and I'm like, oh my God, like it's insane the amount of. But I've learned too, Caleb. Like one of the most important things, like as a marketer or just in business in general, is that I just have to realize that like most other my competition, like most people are very very lazy. Most people don't go the extra mile, and so in my mind, I'm like, well, as long as I just commit to always, doing that, 5% more than everybody else or 10% more than everybody else, like, then I'm going to win. Right. And I think and so for me, the email is a big part of that. And so, and that's been a big one for me. And I come from the ClickBank, VSL, low ticket offer kind of background. And email is a huge thing. And one of my mentors, Craig Ballantyne, he was always like, you got to email every single day. Like you got to email to these people every day. Because and he's like, if people go, what if they unsubscribe? What if they don't like it? Well, that's okay. Like you want people to unsubscribe because you want the people to remain that are just like, raving fans of you, and they're just always going to be there. And so, and that's huge. And also it just, compounding is also a really important thing, in business as well, especially with email. Because the more your email grows in terms of your email list size, the more your buyers list grows. Like, when you first start out that first year, your promos may not be super big initially, but then the second year, now you have twice as many buyers, twice as many prospects, and then by year 5, by year 6, by year 10, like you're now you have this huge pool of people that you can advertise to, and that makes a huge difference. And email is so important too, because even if your ads are not performing the way you want them to that month or whatever, like if you have a good relationship with your email list, like they'll carry you across the finish line all the time for sure with promos.
Do you yeah, very powerful point. I think that, you know, again, so many marketers don't plan to even really, you know, they don't plan 5 years ahead. You
No,
know,
no,
they're
oh
so
god, no.
set on trying to make money this month that they don't kind of set the foundations that are necessary for success to
For sure.
continue and grow over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you mail your prospects your high ticket offer? Your initial non-buyers of the webinar, do you mail them your high ticket offer?
Um, Sometimes, but not always. No. So we have in the past. I find that it doesn't convert as well as I would like it to, as far as the high ticket, because it's really hard for someone to go from not giving you any money to then giving you 15, 20 grand, right, for something they haven't done. But what we do though is we'll cycle them through other types of offers. So one of the things we've been doing recently every month now is we actually do like a free 5-day challenge, which has been great. Obviously, all about doing mini groups and stuff. And so with the challenge, that's been awesome too, because it's another way to get people into the ecosystem. Because basically, it's like, okay, you register for the webinar, you watch the webinar, you didn't buy. Okay, so that means for whatever reason, like maybe it wasn't the right timing, you didn't, there's not a trust built up yet. So that's like, okay, we'll jump in. Every month now we're saying, hey, we're doing our free 5-day challenge, register for it, and then for 5 days they're listening to me, they're learning from me, and now they come around and start to buy, and then once they start to buy, right, now it gets down to the point where then they can go into the higher ticket stuff. So it's almost like it's like a second chance of getting them to come through as well. And so that's so initially, no, they don't come on the high ticket, but we're able to kind of cycle through into a free challenge, which then builds a ton of trust during those 5 days. And then, now we get them into the $2,000 product, and then they, immediately want to upgrade. Now, it's funny because the people that do that, they immediately want to upgrade into the higher ticket once they get into the low ticket, because now the trust is so much more there with the challenge. Yeah.
If we do like a JV webinar as an example, or a product launch, with those traffic sources, I have found that if I can get 100 people, just simple math, if 100 buyers of my front end product, if I can get 100 of the buyers that buy my product, if I can get 100 of them to upsell to my 5 or 10K upsell on the back end, by actually repositioning that upsell and mailing it to the prospect list, I can actually get another 80 to 100 people from the prospect list.
Oh, wow.
Now that's with JV traffic.
Okay.
And but I have always found that mailing my high ticket back end offer to prospects has been very lucrative for me. The penultimate strategy for getting prospects into high ticket stuff is the challenges. It is the mini groups. Anytime we do stuff like that, it just absolutely, it crushes it. The problem with us has always been volume with that. If you put like 2,000 people into a challenge or a mini group, and you get like 400 apps, in a 24-hour period. That can be a challenge, but those are all the types of problems that we want in business.
Yeah, good problems. Good problems for sure.
What do you think, some random questions here, what do you think the best habit for internet marketers or internet entrepreneurs is to cultivate?
Oh my gosh, the best habit. I would say the best habit would be, honestly, I think it's consistency. It is doing the same thing again and again and again, even if it gets boring. I think that's a big part of it, because so many people, they, in internet marketing, it's like you launch a product, and then it peaks or it does really well, and then it starts to kind of die down a little bit. And so what most people do is they just scrap it and they go on to build the next product, right? Because it's fun to build a new product. It's fun, that adrenaline rush. Where what I've done is I said, okay, Commission Hero initially launched it, did really well, and then it kind of, faded away a little bit. Instead of me pivoting to another offer, I said, no, let me just double down on this. Let me make it even better. Let me just, focus on more student success. Let me rework the webinar with more testimonial. Let me do it. Like, I've constantly done that, and I've done the same thing for 5 years now. Like, just how can I constantly improve this thing? And that's why I'm like, I am where I am, because of that. And so I think, consistency. I think that, for me, I wanted to build a business. I don't want to just build an offer. And so that's been I think most people, if they would focus on that, they could. And it's so much better when you have one offer that keeps on doing well. It's less headache. It's less volatility. It's I think I like that better. So consistency would be my answer.
So if you enjoyed this clip and you'd like to benefit from more monetization secrets, go and register now for Monetization Daily. You can go to monetizationresearch.com to get it. It is a free newsletter that is absolutely awesome. It is delivered to your email inbox, and it contains lots of great monetization tips, tactics, and strategies that you will love. Again, head on over to monetizationresearch.com to get it now.